Hi everyone, I'm Rachel Sawani. Welcome to my channel, Intuitive Soul Rising. Today I have I'm feeling very honored today to have this special guest show up for me as a guide more recently. Freddie Mercury is here, and I've been hanging out with him, or he's been hanging out with me, hanging around me for almost 2 weeks now, or maybe it's been 2 weeks. But he's a little bit pushing me out of my comfort zone. He's wanting me to just change it up a little bit with this type of video, with this message. I bring in messages from higher beings of love and light that have to do with like ascension, ascended masters, archangels, and the galactics. So with Freddie, it's a totally different vibe. But he's super high vibe. So, and it's hard to tune him out too, because we've been connecting a lot, like even before I got on here today. Again, he's been with me a lot the last few days and couple of weeks leading up to this moment. So he's kind of been warming me up for this moment, to get up on that stage and share his message in a way that I haven't shared anyone's message before. I have not channeled any people who have lived on this earth and passed over in any of my video messages, so this is a first for me. And it's not a first for Freddie though, because he is channeled often by Amanda Ellis. And if you're not familiar with Amanda Ellis, I highly recommend you check out her videos and her work. She has a similar style of channeling as I do, and I really resonate with a lot of her stuff. And I've been watching her now for maybe like, I don't know, three or 4 months. She's been around for a while, so she has quite a lot of followers. But I do know her from her Archangel Metatron deck that she created, which I don't have with me, but it's one of my favorite decks. And many of you know Archangel Metatron is one of my main guides, and he's also one of Amanda Ellis's main guides. So interestingly enough, I was drawn to her work, and I was watching her work, and I'm realizing that we have all these connections, right? So she created the Archangel Metatron deck, and I really connect with that deck, but I connect with her energy as well. And yeah, I just have a calling to kind of start being a little bit more transparent with how I channel and share more messages from the guides that come up for me, that aren't just archangels and ascended masters and these really high vibrational light beings. I don't know what to call them, but you know what I mean. That's kind of been where my comfort zone has been. That's where I started. And so with Freddie, he's really trying to get me to expand and get out of my box a little bit and get into a new lane, I feel him showing me. So he's kind of showing me like shifting gears and moving out of this one track lane and starting to get into this other lane, and have some fun with that area of channeling. So thank you, Freddie, for that. And yeah, so to start, so I don't really have too much super prepared about this. This is going to be kind of an off the cuff, kind of a casual type conversational interview in a way. I do have some questions or topics to kind of go over with him about. But back to Amanda Ellis, that is one thing I wanted to really stress, is that she has done a few channelings with Freddie, and that was where I never actually watched those videos. I had watched other videos that she's done with Metatron and things like that, but I just knew of him. I knew of him as being part of her Heart Squad. So she has members of a Heart Squad that she channels that are famous people that have passed over, and some of the Heart Squad are Princess Diana, Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain, Robin Williams, George Michael. These are beings that she's channeled a lot, and Freddie Mercury is one of them. So I just knew him to be one that she has brought forward. But I didn't actually start watching some of her messages from him until after I had already connected with Freddie and talked to him. So I was kind of worried about that with honestly coming on here today with Freddie. I kept asking him, are you sure, you want to come through me? Like, why me? Why now? But it's just broadening our perspective. It's partly for me to open up and get more comfortable channeling people that have lived, and just bringing his message forward in a different way, in a unique vibration, and the connection that we have, which is unique to the connection that he has with Amanda and potentially other mediums that channel him. I'm not aware of anyone else that does, but there may be others. My other nerves were around, just the idea that, hey, people know Freddie. People are still alive that were very close to Freddie. So I just want to do him justice and share his message in a way that is honoring him and true to him. So that said, I'm going to just see if he's ready to start. And he's just ready as ever. He's just kind of showing that he's just been waiting for me to get to this point. He can see that I'm a lot more comfortable now in my own skin and comfortable in this moment. So I think we can begin. So lights, camera, action is what I'm hearing. Like the clipboard rolling. Okay, so he wants me to start with how we met. The story of how we met. Okay, so go into that. Basically, I was having a bad day one morning a couple of weeks ago. Just, feeling some energy around me, some lower energy around me, and trying to stay high vibe, positive, transmute, all that good stuff. And I was driving in my car, and I was on my way to the dentist. And I just felt like that day in particular, there was just a lot of messages coming through songs on the radio. And I listened to mostly classic rock, or Motown or oldies. So I have a couple stations I flip between, but they're usually stuff that's got older music playing, but a variety of genres. And every song just really felt like it was there to kind of help lift my vibration. So I really appreciated that, but I wasn't getting a sense of which guides were playing the music. So when I was on my way home, it was just everywhere I would go, there would be a song, and I was having, even at the dentist's office, I was talking about mediumship to the lady that was cleaning my teeth, and we had a really good connection on that. And just all these signs and synchronicities, I just felt really in alignment. And anyways, as I was coming home, on my way home, one of the last songs I heard was a Queen song. And up until this point in time, I really don't follow Queen. I'm I like their music. You know, I've liked their music. I know the most popular songs that play on the radio, but I'm never really super connected in with their energy, or I just don't know anything about Queen. Other than there was a film done on them a few years back that I never saw but heard was really good. I just never felt drawn to connect with Freddie Mercury, or I don't know. I just didn't know much about them. So it was interesting. So the song came on the radio and it was We Are the Champions, which again, I've heard many, many times. But this time was different. As soon as that song came on, just because of how I was being prepped up until that point, I knew every song had some kind of significance for me and meaning and purpose to being the song on the radio at that moment in time for me to hear. And so that song came on and it was just like, that was the crescendo effect. It was like that was the climax of the whole connection or meeting. And Freddie came through and I saw him very clearly. And I saw his whole energy. It's like I saw his soul in that moment. And also feeling the lyrics and the music, and I totally saw, he showed me him as a starseed, as a light worker, someone who was here with a mission and a purpose to help wake people up through music and through his heart. His heart, he was very heart-centered and heart-based, and he truly loved everyone, and he was truly here to lift everybody up, to lift the vibrations up. And when I heard the lyrics to that song, I was really connecting into that as being like a power anthem for our lightworker community, for what we're attempting to do. Just we are the champions. And it was really profound and shifted my whole perspective in one moment of who Freddie was and why he came to be here and the music that he wrote. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful moment. And I didn't think too much of it after that, other than, that feeling lingered. I also broke into tears actually through the connection because it came in so strong. It was just really heartfelt. And I could hear in his voice and in his lyrics just the depth to his soul, as I'm sure you would also notice, and his fans connect to him on that level. That's why he's so popular, why he was such a presence when he was performing. And anyways, so if you're not a Queen fan, I highly recommend, connecting into them through their music and truly going back and listening to some of their greatest hits. And because there's a lot of songs that started to come up for me as I've been connecting with Freddie that are really new songs to me, but the lyrics are just so spot on and beautiful and really show the truth of his essence and his purpose and his meaning. And I do feel it connects with the like whole message of spreading love and light and shining that forward. So without getting too lost in that story, the other thing that happened, so then I basically kind of just let that be, and I had a client that was in the schedule for like a day or two after that first connection, and I started to think, maybe I started to question, because I felt Freddie around me and I wasn't really connecting with him directly, but I just felt like, okay, maybe I need to start asking Freddie some questions because he's still here. And but I was a little bit nervous too. But anyways, I asked him, okay, so are you here for somebody else? Are you here for this other client? And he started to kind of show me through different signs, like he would point out different things. And one of the things he pointed out was that he was close to someone named Mary, because that was the name of my client. And when I looked that up, I found out that that was his twin flame, is what he shared, Mary Austin. So they have a really beautiful story that many talk about, and I think it's shown in the movie also. But yeah, so there was that connection, and then I started to really get the sense that, okay, he's really showing me all the signs now. So I wasn't doubting our connection at that point, and yeah, he told me that he did have a message for that client, by the way, but he also had a message for me and for the collective. So he really did want to come have me do this video with you today, and it's everything. Since that first meeting till now has really been kind of a warming me up to talk to him, to feel comfortable in his presence, to feel confident in bringing him forward. Because again, you know, I had some reservations about just sharing stuff that other channels have shared, you know, so I was wondering, how is this going to be for me? But here we are. The show must go on. And that is one of the other lines he kept repeating to me when I first chatted with him, one of our first conversations, real conversations. He kept saying the show must go on. And I was like, you know, trying to figure out like what he meant by that. You know, I felt like I kind of understood what he might mean by that. But at the same time, I thought it was an interesting choice of words that he would keep repeating. I felt like there was something to that. So I finally kept thinking about it. And finally he was like, look it up on Google, you know, type in. I thought, well, maybe this is a saying he had, you know, when he was alive. He kept saying this show must go on or something. So I looked it up on Google, and the first thing that comes up is the video to his song, The Show Must Go On. So it was just like, okay, all right, I got it. I got it now. It was amazing connecting with him. So that was the true sign. That was the true test that the connection was true, and that he was really wanting to come forward. Because I like to have signs. I like when guides give me signs in the physical. That's actually my favorite thing. I love channeling and talking to them, but I love when they actually give me little signs along the way in the physical to help me trust that connection is strong. So I definitely recommend you guys doing that of your guides also, or people that you might feel you might be connecting to. If you're not really sure who the energy is, ask them to give you a specific sign, and you can tell them what kind of sign you want. So you can say, I want to see a feather in the next 24 hours, and just be open at that point, and don't look for the feather, but allow it to just show up when it shows up, and fully trust that you're going to get that sign. And it may even come as like a picture that you see of a feather, but it might not be a feather on the ground. It might be someone has a feather earring or on their necklace or something like that. I've noticed that that's how my guides work. So be specific and test that connection. Okay, so I feel like maybe I've been rambling on a little too much now that I'm comfortable with anyway. So let's have Freddie step in. Freddie, are you ready to start? He's saying, let's begin, shall we? Ready as I'll ever be. Ready and waiting. Okay. So, yeah, where to start? Where would you like to start, Freddie? He's saying, let's start at the beginning. He's saying he just wants his fans to know that he loves you guys very much. He's showing up today with a a higher reason, a higher intention, a higher purpose. Part of that is to show his support for the light worker community. He's saying bravo, bravo. He's giving us a round of applause. He's sharing the spotlight with us, or he's inviting us to share the spotlight with him, I should say, through his music, through the messages that come through in his music that he has shared with us. And he's definitely wanting you to listen to his songs more, and connect with his energy. He's saying that's how you can connect with his energy. That's how you can call him in. He's kind of like reaching out to everybody in that way, offering his services as a spirit guide. He's kind of making a joke about, those ascended masters can be a bit of a bore. You need to bring some life to the party, have some new friends show up. He's saying, speak to us. He's kind of highlighting the Heart Squad that Amanda Ellis talks about, the singers, the ones I mentioned previously. They're all wanting to connect, and through our soul connection, we have a soul connection with them, and we can bring in their messages as mediums and share their voice again, so they can reconnect with their audience again. So one of my questions that I wrote down was to ask Freddie, as a spirit guide, what do you want to help us with? So I'm going to tune in and see what he wants to share with that. Well, with a little bit of everything, but mostly lightening up our spirits, showing different sides of ourselves, learning to see ourselves as unique vibrations of light. He's like, stop comparing yourselves, none of that. He's saying, that's boring. That's old news. He's saying you're here to shift the paradigm, to represent through your diversity in the ways you channel, in the ways you see yourselves, in the ways you present yourselves to the world. Be unique. Be yourself. And don't be afraid to step out of the shadows, into the light, into the limelight. And he's saying, get a taste of what that's like. It really lights your fire when you speak out your truth, when you speak your truth out loud, when you share it to people. It's inspiring to others, he's saying. It helps to make others feel comfortable with being exposed or exposing new sides of themselves. So he's kind of pointing to me right now. What are you wanting me to share, Freddie? He's laughing. Share it all. Share it all. Be you. He's like, the conversations we've had about this. Speaking up. Feeling more comfortable in the spotlight. Tuning your energy to expand your view is what he's showing. Like getting out of your comfort zone, getting out of don't box yourself in, he's saying. Don't box yourself in, don't limit yourself, don't limit your potential. Everybody has blinders on, he's showing. A lot of people are walking around like this. They're just kind of staying in their lane, staying in their comfort zone, He's wanting us to really broaden our perspective of who we are as a community, even. What is our intention? What are we wanting to create? He's saying, what kind of life do you want to live? What kind of life are you wanting to create? He's saying, be the creator. Use your knowledge to really create and shift that momentum, get that momentum going, build that momentum. He's saying, because life shouldn't be boring. Life shouldn't be blah. If your life is feeling blah, it's time to ramp up the energy. It's time to, like, he's showing like what he would do like before he went on stage, like kind of like jog in place and sing the la 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 la, that kind of stuff. Just kind of amping himself up, getting himself ready to perform. He's showing that this is kind of where the collective is at. He's trying to, part of his role here is to kind of amp us up, to get us ready to perform. Wow. And as I'm saying that, you might be catching the sound in the background. I'm in my husband's office right now, but we have an office next to us that is a multimedia company of some sort, and they are just blasting some really intense music right now. It's very deep bass, so I feel like that's probably going to come up on this recording, but he's just like shouting out loud. Freddie's really ramped up right now. He's showing me that side of himself, but he's also saying he knows how to calm it down. So his message, so your message, back to the question, what do you want to help people with? You're saying showing a lighter side of things, or lighting people's fire, helping them to light their fire, that passion, feel that passion when you connect into something and you're just fully in it, you're living it, you're being it, and you feel free. So he's saying freedom to be yourself is really what his message is all about. If we had to put it in a nutshell, he's like, just look at me. He's like, just look at my life. I didn't give a damn what other people thought. Yes, I had my personal life. Yes, I had my privacy. Yes, I honored that because I honored the people that I loved. And I didn't want to share all of me. There were parts that I wanted for myself, to keep hidden from view. He's saying, would I share more now, looking back from where I'm at? Yeah, I would have. He's saying I would have shared more of that quieter side, that mellow side, that contemplative, deep, reflective side of my soul. He's saying there was a need in that lifetime to find balance between these two sides, but there was this ego-driven aspect of him that was just, he loved the spotlight. He loved being out there. He loved being proud. He was a proud man. He really believed in himself and what he had to offer, and he could not share it, so yes, so he's going back to, in that way, being free to express yourself is really, that's the gift you give to the world. Be free to be you, and love yourself, love all of your parts. He's saying, he's showing that he did not always love all of his parts, and he was very comfortable in certain roles, and others he was maybe lost, feeling a little lost and disconnected from some aspects of himself that He wished he was a little bit more confident in showing. He felt very vulnerable in certain situations. And so the showy side of him was kind of overemphasized in his lifetime. But in future lifetimes, he would like to be more reserved, or show maybe a more reserved, share that side more, to kind of help balance that energy. It feels like he was a little ungrounded in his role as Freddie Mercury. Is that correct, Freddie? He's highlighting a line in his song, a lyric in one of his songs that I love. It's traveling at the speed of light. I was moving fast. His life was very fast paced, and he was traveling at the speed of light. So yeah, grounding energy, definitely. More meditation, more time for self to kind of maybe transmute and heal some of those wounded parts that were under the surface that he kept hidden from view. But his closest friends and family knew him, the whole of him. They had the all of him. They had the whole of him, and that's why he held them so dearly in his heart. And he kept them close to him. He kept all of his lovers close. He's highlighting Mary, even though they didn't actually get married in his lifetime. He felt married to her, and he had that close relationship with her. So he's saying many of us know that to be like a twin flame relationship. And the music is just so loud, Freddie. He's showing me right now. It's because it's like I'm backstage at a concert. That's what he's showing me. I'm like in the dressing room or something, and the concert's going on. The Queen concert's going on. He's saying, enjoy the show, enjoy the ride. So we talked about, let's see, what you want to help people with. So yeah, one of my questions was how many people are you working with? So I remember the first video that Amanda Ellis, when she did her first channeling with you, you were a bit shy and reserved, or it felt like that in that video you were kind of making a debut and not maybe connecting with so many of us light workers at that time. Is that correct? He's saying yes. He was kind of getting pulled out of his box a little bit by Metatron. And that's where kind of Metatron plays a big role in him stepping forward or choosing to step forward. And Amanda Ellis was a safe place to do that. He really enjoys connecting with her, he says, and kind of lightening her up too, as he's been doing for me, which is very true. He's showing a playful side. He has a very playful side of himself and a light side of himself that it's through his sense of humor, the way he talks. It's really I love his personality. I'll be honest. I love his personality. And he's just kind of like, well, who wouldn't, darling? He uses the word darling a lot with me in kind of a playful way. He's saying he really enjoys my energy, and he enjoys that aspect to our relationship, and he feels close to me now. since we've been kind of hanging out and chatting. And I've been asking him for advice on things also, and I get really good advice, like what boots to wear with what outfit. Yeah, I was getting ready. He wants me to tell the story. So I was getting ready for my daughter's 7th birthday party, okay? So I had a sweater on and jeans, and I was going to wear tennis shoes. Hey, keep it comfortable. He was like, the boots, the knee-high boots that I have, these suede knee-high boots. And my husband noticed. Well, he complimented me on it, so it was really kind of getting that recognition. But yeah, he's like, anytime you need help with the wardrobe, call me in. I've got great advice. And he's kind of pointing to everyone too. Same goes to all of you. He does that with Amanda Ellis as well, so I think it's funny. Thank you, Freddie. So you can, I guess that answers one of the questions about what do you help people with? Help people pick out clothes, get ready. He's saying, showing you your best view or the best side of you, bringing out the best in you, bringing out the best in others is really what he enjoys. Yeah, he's very comfortable. You feel very comfortable as a guide now, so you must be working with a lot of people since that first time you came out of the closet as a spiritual guide. Coming out of the spiritual guide closet, he's kind of laughing at that. He's saying you're starting to pick up on my sense of humor now, is what he's saying. You're coming up with some good ones. He's saying, what did I ask you? Oh, yeah. I forgot my own question. Yeah, how many are you working with? You feel like you're getting comfortable with it, being a guide. He's saying a lot of, like, hundreds of souls. He's always been connecting with us through the music. So he connects with the fans through the music. He comes in to kind of help nudge people who really connect with his message, who connect with his vibration. So yeah, call on him to connect, and you can play his music as a way to bring in his energy and feel that connection. And then he's saying he'll just start whispering sweet nothings in your ear. If you ask him for signs, he'll give you signs. If you want to see queen, the word queen, ask him to see the word queen. If you want to see the crown, ask him to see the crown, you know. He's like, I'll show it all. He goes, you know me, I've got nothing to hide. And he's fully exposed. Might be some innuendos in that, but maybe not. He does have that sexual, playful side to him, so I'll say that too. As a guide, you'll definitely hear. He'll definitely push you a little out of your comfort zone in that way as well, if you wish to have him help you explore new areas. I don't know how to put that, but it's just part of his nature, part of his essence to really not hide under labels, he's saying, of being this or that. But he's saying he can be naughty and nice, so he's also saying that. He has a very playful personality, but he's always, it's like he's always means well. He has very, very good intentions, and he can definitely help bring in the passion, bring in the fire, keep showing lighting the fire. So, and he's showing the symbol of the flame, which is what really represents his energy. And I'm pretty sure Amanda Ellis shared that also, but he really highlights that with me a lot too. A couple times. Another story coming to mind with Freddie recently was when my husband and I, after the kids go to sleep, we like to sit by the fire outside, and we're big on to, like, you know, burning fires in our yard. I mean, you know, sitting by like the campfire type thing and talking and connecting. But there was one time where I think we were listening to one of his songs, because we've been doing that more and more since he's been coming through. My husband's feeling his energy. And hello, I'm back for round 2. Yesterday's recording got cut a little short. An unexpected interruption in filming due to just a storage issue on my camera card, and I'm still working that out, so I'm actually filming on my computer right now. But yeah, I feel like everything happens for a reason. So when that happened, I realized that maybe I don't have enough time to finish the interview the way that I would like to. So I decided we'll just take a break for now and come back to it tomorrow. And when I went to bed at night, and I felt like I was getting downloads all during the night and this morning about different questions that Freddie would like to have me ask or answer for us. So I have a load of more questions. This video is probably going to end up being longer than I anticipated, but I'm totally fine with that. Because I really love connecting to his energy, and I think you guys will love getting a broader perspective of who he is. And yeah, so right now I just want to kind of tune into his energy a little bit, because I haven't, I just kind of sat down and trying to pick up where I left off. I'll finish my story about the fire, but I want to just check in with Freddie right now and see how he's feeling. And he's reminding me to tell you about how I see him, because I didn't necessarily explain that. But when I see Freddie, when I talk to Freddie, I see him as, how he was the last few years of his life. So hair slicked back, hair short, slicked back with the mustache. And that's how he comes through to me. And so I'll put a picture of him up too, because he's also reminding me to do that. I know that Amanda Ellis does that with him, brings in his pictures, and I think that's awesome to kind of help you guys connect with his energy a little deeper. To wrap up, okay, he said, I'm here, I'm fine. Go back to your story, love. Just finish where you left off. I'm fine. Okay, so that's good to know. Let's go back then. So yeah, just his fiery energy I was talking about, and I was sharing a story about the campfire, and what happened was really just I was feeling his energy coming through. Maybe I was, connecting to him through his music, or we were just talking about him, or something was said about him, and it was interesting because in that moment, the fire, and we have a kind of a metal cage that we put our fire, the logs in, and it burns, but the door is open. There's about 3 or 4 logs on there at a time. So basically, right after that, we acknowledged Freddie in some way. All the logs, the 3 or 4 logs that were in there, they just flew out of the cage. Like, I couldn't even tell you how that happened. They just all flew out and onto the ground. So it was pretty dramatic of an expression in the physical of his energy, and just a confirmation that we were connecting to him. I know my husband was really shocked, but thought it was really cool. And so just getting back to that story to finish it. But let's see. More questions, Freddie? You ready for more questions? He's saying, go for it. Shoot. Shoot. Fire away. Okay, so I talked a little bit about how when I first connected him, he was talking about The Show Must Go On before I knew it was a song. Now that I know it's a song, I know there's a double meaning there to why he chose that specific song. So I'd like him to share that. Do you have a message about why you chose that song, Freddie? Because it really exemplifies where he was at before he was passed on. It was recorded in a moment of his life where he knew he was dying. He knew of his diagnosis. He knew the end was near, and it was like a final tribute to his fans. He's referring to that whole album. That whole last album was really like a dying tribute to his fans, and he wanted them to go on. He wanted the show to go on, and it was like a finale, kind of a final number on that record. I think it was the last one and one of their last hits, and it was just something to be remembered by. His saying he wanted to go out with a bang, he was saying, and he didn't want like there to be this like dreary energy around his life, this like, oh, poor Freddie, you know, kind of energy. He wanted people to remember him as like happy and fulfilled. He wanted people to know that he led a very fulfilling and satisfying life. He was ready to die. He was ready to pass on. He felt confident in his knowing that he lived the way he wanted to live, and he couldn't ask for anything more, and he was okay with where he was at in that transition. And yeah, he didn't want there to be a lot of sadness and grief around his loss. He wanted people to remember him as, you know, a strong energy, a happy, flamboyant, you know, expressive, creative energy of a man, a type of a man, and he wanted that to come through in that song. And as far as the light workers go, he's highlighting the light workers now. There is like a double meaning that I was picking up on originally, and for me personally, is the show must go on is really an expression of like, it's not over yet. Like the finale is not here yet. Like you're still, you've still got a lot of story to tell. You still have a lot of changes to make, shifts in consciousness he's referring to. Yeah. And just, you know, kind of like a pump you up song, like the show must go on. Like, don't live in fear, he's saying. Don't live in sadness. Don't live in victim mentality. Embrace where he was at in his life when he wrote that song and the meaning it had for him. Like it wasn't the end for him. It was not going to be the end. That was not going to be his final, you know, experience. Maybe, you know, in that lifetime as Freddie Mercury, but he was moving on. He was going into another world, and he could sense that, and I felt like he did have angels around him guiding him through those last times, kind of his own spirit guides, his own loved ones that passed on before him, ancestors I'm hearing, kind of like holding his hand through that process. So he felt very loved. He felt very comfortable with his own passing. It feels like he came to terms with that. And yeah, so he's like, don't cry for me, Argentina, that song. He kind of showed me that song the other day. It's just like, that's not, don't pity me. Don't throw me a pity party. I am happy. I'm a happy and proud man, and I'm very proud of the life and legacy I created, and I'm very satisfied and fulfilled with that. On the other side, and that just leads me to my next question, which came from Freddie. So I guess it makes sense that you're leading me to that question, right? What do you think about your legacy, the legacy that you have left behind, looking from where you're at in heaven? Oh, I love it, he's saying. What's not to love? What's not to appreciate? It was an experience that can never be repeated, in a sense, but it lives on through my music, through my fans, through how they show up for me, and it's like the feeling of like promoting him, his legacy, the way people have just, you know, really held on to him, and he's kind of highlighting the movie as being an example of him living on through the hearts of those who loved him. And his concerts, the Live Aid concert that was filmed and can be watched, he's showing like all the videos and his interviews that you can just very easily find on YouTube now, whereas like maybe back in the day when he was alive, his fans didn't have access to all of that footage of him, but his memory is living on through that, and it's making it easier for us to connect to him, for us to channel him, and for him to connect to us, and to feel our love for him through the comments, through just everything. He's fully aware and fully proud of the legacy that he has left, and you know, he's showing like, it's kind of like blowing him away. Like, it's kind of like even he couldn't have imagined in his own life how he would be, how loved he would be, and how well remembered he would be. And it's an honor that his bandmates are continuing to perform his songs with other singers like Adam Lambert, and that they're, you know, just a new audience is reconnecting with their music through Adam, who has a little different style to Freddie, like a different kind of flair, but very dramatic, very over the top, as Freddie was. And he's kind of leading him too. He's guiding Adam in the process, the creative process, and but Adam adds his own unique flavor to it, and he loves that. He loves that, but he feels fully respected and grounded. He's saying in what he created, and it's very grounded into his legacy. It's easy for us to connect into that, and so he's never far from us. He's saying, okay, Freddie. So, how do you see us progressing on Earth since your time on Earth as a whole, as a collective? He's saying fairly well, with some sore spots, with some blind spots, and seeing if he wants to elaborate on that. He's like, well, I think I already did. I think I already answered that question in how I want to help you. He's talking about the blinders, people not seeing. People are just lost in the day-to-day grind. People are lost in the routines of everyday life. They get lost in the boringness of the routines. He's wanting them to find themselves again. He's telling us to find yourselves again. It's time to be reborn. It's time to remake your look, to give yourself a makeover, a conscious makeover. You're a creative expression of the divine, and you have many sides of yourselves that are most hidden from view. And you tune into one channel, one frequency of one way of living, one lifestyle choice, and you forget that the world is a large and beautiful place. It's a playground of energy. It's just fascinating how many opportunities are out there to build yourself up in this day and age. She's referring to like the digital, the marketing, like social media and YouTube. It's like everybody can be a star. Everybody can be their own star. Everybody can create their own following and be in the spotlight like I was. And it's amazing to him. He's just like, his eyes are like, it's like a world of opportunities. It's so much easier for people today to make a name for themselves, to promote themselves in any way they choose. You know, there's an audience for everything, he's saying. There's an audience for everything. Find your niche.
find your niche. He's like, that's what I did. He's saying, that's what I did. I found my niche. Queen was its own thing, was its own creation. It was in a lane of all its own. We took from different styles of music. We took from rock and pop and opera and classical and rockabilly and gospel and all these different sounds. He said I sampled from every genre of music as much as I could to kind of bring in the unique eclectic sound of harmonizing, of just that whole, he's showing like the diversity of the musical styles that he incorporated into his rock anthems, is really what brought it's what jazzed everybody up. It's what brought the energy alive of his songs. It's what gave them such a powerful sound and a unique sound, and it created something all its own that no one could have foreseen fully in the band at the time they were creating this music, but it was like a knowing in his heart, like this was what to do. He was being very intuition-led, very heart-based in his music, and his soul expressing itself, its creative side. It was just full of potential. There was just so much potential there, and so much more he could have explored if he had stayed alive. But he's like, but I think I did enough. I think I did enough. I made a name for myself. I showed the world what I could do. I showed my range in expression, creative expression, and I'm very proud of. I left a mark, and I'm very proud of that. For future followers, for future, he's talking about like in the music industry, bands and stuff to follow. He led an example in his career of how to explore, how to play around with different styles and sounds and make it your own. So I definitely would agree with that. And there's so many different sounds to his songs, and all of them are just awesome and beautiful, and they all get you going. They all kind of pump you up, and just make you feel good energetically is what it's all about. He's just showing lifting up your vibration. It's all about just raising your vibration to a higher vibration, and opening up your minds to see, beyond new possibilities. So interesting, Freddie. Okay, so one of my questions was, what is it like in heaven for you, Freddie Mercury, or for anyone? Oh, it's beautiful. It's wonderful. It's beyond what the mind can imagine it to be. It's like your best dream ever. It's like, think of when you're dreaming and you're in you're lost in a dream and you don't want to wake up. I mean, that's really where it's at up here. You can bring in, energy from people, anything you desire. It's all free for the taking, but it's all available. It's all what's available to you. So it's all what your desires are, what you are seeking to learn, how you're seeking to grow and expand. You will spend time learning and doing that, and preparing, and just getting to know yourself. It feels like preparing for your next life, but really spending time with yourself in that unique vibration as you were in your last reincarnation. So with those friends and relatives and people that you admired and were inspired by, that are also in heaven. So I feel like him talking about maybe people that he knew that were artists that maybe he didn't have a chance to meet in this lifetime, or in your lifetime on Earth. Is that correct, Freddie? He's like, yes, all of it. There's just so many people, here, like, you have access to all this knowledge and all this wisdom, and it's a beautiful thing to connect and to share creatively in expressions with those who admire you, admire your work. It sounds like maybe he's connecting with people that he knew or that had some admiration for him. And he's saying yes, yes, all of them. So would you like to elaborate on who you're hanging out with? That was kind of one of my questions, or one of the questions I thought you were going to have me ask you. Elvis? Yes, Elvis, Prince. My friends, David Bowie. He's like, George Michael and I are friends. Princess Diana. People that I knew in my life and were close to, and people that I wasn't as close to in my life but admired. We're all together. It's one big party here, in a way, to be able to connect with so many loved ones. It's an honor. Okay. I feel I'm stepping away with that, not wanting to go too much into it. So let's see. Oh, yes, your cats. I wanted to just get a little. I love that you have this connection with cats. So if you don't know that about Freddie, he was very connected to cats. He had many cats that lived with him, and they were like his family, like his children, he said. And so, I've had cats too. I'm more of a dog person, but I'm actually mostly a horse person. So, but I am intrigued by that because my daughter Juniper is 2.5, and she acts like a cat. She thinks she's a cat. She says she's a cat, and it's really cute and endearing. And we have this stray that comes around, and he's been coming around for a year now, but I always kind of pick up on, now I kind of associate him a little bit with Freddie's energy too, because, there's cats coming around me, and he's a cat lover, so I wanted to ask you about your cat. So tell us about that connection. He's like, well, what's there to say, really, other than I love cats. I love the feline energy. I love the sense of independence, the sense of I don't give a damn. Love me for who I am, and even if you don't, I'll move on to the next person that will. I'm not needy. I don't show my neediness, but I love to cuddle. I love to play. I love. He's showing how he would take care of his cats, how his cats felt about him. It's just very symbolic of kind of his own perception, his own feelings towards people and the public even. I want to do what I want to do, and more power to me. But there's a very lion energy that he kind of comes through with around the cats also that he shows. It's a very regal, powerful energy. I know he's talked about this with Amanda, so it's another kind of something he's said with her, but he's telling me don't worry about referencing her, because just the fact that I'm sharing her work is honorable. And go out and say who you like, say who you like, say what you know. It's okay to play off of your own life experiences and experiences that others have to make new connections. There's nothing wrong with that. He's showing it's kind of taking from other genres of music like he did, and being inspired by other people's work and sharing that and feeling confident enough to say, okay, this was something that somebody channeled, but it resonated with me, and now I'm kind of picking up on that with Freddie, and it's totally fine. Don't even worry about it, he's saying. But back to the cats, yeah. Yeah, what's there to know? Just they were his children. They were a close connection to him, going back to the regal. They have a very regal stature. And he's showing me the crown with queen. There's a royal bloodline connection there. And he's moving into the next question, which has to do with Starseed origins. And he's confirming what Amanda channeled about that, which is, but he's highlighting Orion connection in Sirius, which is what she picked up on around his energy. And I kind of got from him when I first connected with him some Pleiadian energy. So he's connecting the royal kind of bloodlines, royalty, the regalness and feeling of his presence, his proudness, his kind of royalty coming from his Orion, a Starseed heritage mostly. But he's got a little Pleiadian energy as well. So yeah, he's very extroverted in some ways and comfortable in the spotlight, and that feels very Pleiadian to me. But he's also very regal in knowing kind of who he is. So yeah, he's just kind of saying, I've dabbled in all of them. And I think also reassuring me that I didn't necessarily get it wrong with the Pleiadian. Just because Amanda said Orion and Sirian, it was just, I was connecting with him on that because I have had Pleiadian lifetimes, and so I was kind of seeing that in him and drawing that expression out of him, but he is also connected to them as well. And he's highlighting how there's many Pleiadians. Many celebrities or stars or people that are Pleiadian that have a very Pleiadian energy and light workers. They're heavily populated on the earth, so a lot of Pleiadian energy on the earth. So he resonates with that as well. Okay, pretty cool. Let's see. Oh, okay, Freddie. This is a question that came from him. What ascended masters or archangels are you closest to or are around you? He's like, well, Metatron, of course. Always good at getting him out of his little bubble, helping him expand his mind and connect him to his galactic heritage or his understanding of who he was as a starseed and how those qualities played out in his lifetime as Freddie Mercury. That's one of the things he's learning from Metatron up there. He's being schooled a little bit. Anyone else you would like to? He's highlighting Master Jesus because of the unconditional love. He just felt like so much heart-centered love for his fans and for people in general, just for the whole of humanity. He just felt so much love. So it's a strong connection with Master Jesus. I'm also hearing Buddha. He's saying he could take some notes from Buddha and Buddha's energy and some of the lessons that he taught, like the noble truths and about suffering. And it feels like he's interested in like the healing work aspect, the kind of knowing the wounded sides of yourself and understanding what parts need healed and how to heal those by giving them love. So he's saying that sometimes he just shunned those parts or didn't express them as much or tune into them as much or see it that way, but now he can see it that way. Now he can see the message of love being so clear now that had he learned to love those sides of himself more or given more attention to those wounded parts and shown them love, he might have expressed his vitality, his life energy a little bit differently. So that kind of draws into the next question I'm getting for him that came up, which was about his lifestyle, because I feel like Freddie Mercury was known to be kind of a partier, extravagant, and he's like, you know me, the bigger the better, the flashier, the flaunty or something like that. What are you saying, Freddie? Yeah, he's just highlighting like a lot of flair, and extravagant parties, how that he was known for. He was a big time partier, he's saying. So with that, Freddie, I'd like to know, did you, now looking back, what is your perspective as being, free to be yourself and party it up and live it up, life to the fullest, versus what some of us see, like from a more spiritually minded perspective, that partying, drugs, alcohol, these things are kind of looked down upon in our community, as maybe not something that we want to partake in so much, to kind of keep our temples clean and our bodies clean, and our awareness at a high level. And he's saying, yes, dear, it was an experience. I was here to experience it all. That was my choice. That was my life, part of my life plan and my life lesson. Live to the top, he's saying. Live life to the fullest. And kind of to the extreme, in an extreme sense. And he's kind of referring back to what I said about grounding. He's saying that's where the grounding energy came in. A lot of that was just a distraction to me being able to access that higher perspective of that higher awareness and wisdom and knowledge. And that's kind of also what he meant by Buddha, where he was saying he could take some notes from Buddha about that, because he feels like Buddha's teachings really teach you how to quiet the mind, how to, I apologize, I'm getting kind of some congestion coming in my nose, so it might be distracting me a little bit, but it's in and out. But yeah, how to quiet the mind, and it's like he's showing a restless soul. Like he had a lot of restless energy that came out in his life force and creative energy. And he was just so excited. He was just so excited to explore it all. He just really felt like that was part of his mission in that lifetime, was to just explore, have fun, like life is a playground, that kind of mentality. Okay, so I had to take a little break again and step away for a minute to kind of regroup. And but I do want to pick up where he left off on that last question. And he's saying, like I was saying, life is an expression of your authentic being, your authentic truth, what speaks to you, what calls to you in this lifetime is always, what experiences call to you in this lifetime are always about, are always with a purpose, a higher purpose and meaning. It's for learning and growth and expansion and understanding what feels right for you, and what you want to experience, basically, is what he's saying. Whatever gifts you want to bring to the world and share, in whatever style or flavor you want to share them, is really your choice, your soul choice. And you will choose life paths or appearances, he's saying, and families and experiences that fit within the lessons of your contract, what you came to express, what you came to share, and the gifts you came to share, and the knowledge you came to spread, and the joy you came to spread. So he's really highlighting joy. Life is really about living joyfully and spreading love and accepting others and empowering yourself and empowering others to be themselves. So if you're doing that, then you're on the right trajectory. You're on the right end of things, the right spectrum of things. But it's really not about right or wrong as far as making choices, because there's really no wrong choices, he's highlighting. So just love it all. Be it all. Your soul wants to experience the freedom to do that. And that's why you chose an earthly life incarnation, because you have limitations, perceived limitations, but also open possibilities. So it's like a paradox in a sense. So what are you drawn to? For those of us who's kind of highlighting that are on the more spiritual path, we're more awakening to higher truths, higher knowledges, and incorporating and integrating those practices into our daily lives, striving to be more like ascended masters or on the path of self-mastery and honoring our truths, doesn't mean that we can't honor the truths in others who may not be choosing that path. You can agree to disagree, he's saying. There's pleasure in all of it. There's pleasure and pain in all of it, because life is not a picnic. He's referring to his line in the song, We Are the Champions. It's no bed of roses for any of us. We all struggle with our human needs and our fears and our desires can sometimes wreak havoc on our ability to make wise choices in our lives. To choose the higher path is not always easily seen by all. It's an experience one must go through their own process of making choices that maybe don't bring them joy and give them satisfaction. So really, he keeps highlighting pleasure and pain. There's pleasure and pain in all of life. That's really what. There's two sides of the coin, and you can't escape experiencing that, because as a wise soul and an evolved soul, you will have had to have gone through experiences that brought you to your knees. He's showing, in order to resurrect that within you, that wants to give life, that wants to bring new life and new creations and a new world into being, that wants to birth a new world that is of one love, of one light, and harmony within diversity. So, yeah, that's really the feeling, is like express yourself any way you choose, and have no judgments on those who might be making different choices, but just, be aware of, I don't know if that's exactly what he's saying, but he's kind of like showing like holding space, which is something that I would normally say. He's just basically saying like hold space for everyone to make their mistakes, and be there for them, and still love them, still shine your love on them, never stop shining your love, is really the higher perspective of viewing our human incarnations. Don't take it too seriously, he's saying. Don't take your mistakes too seriously. Don't look at your losses as losses. Look at everything as a win. Look at everything as a strength builder, as an empowerment, as something that was an experience that helped to guide you or lift you up to new heights, to new levels of awareness. Pay attention to the details, though. Pay attention to like what's working, what just your shifts and changes, around certain things. Like for partying, to give an example, in his mind, he feels like he would have outgrown that eventually if he had lived longer on this earth as Freddie Mercury. He feels like he would have turned to different things, different ways of finding pleasure that weren't so extravagant, that he would have turned inward more eventually, but it was his time, and he was free to go, and that was part of the legacy that he left, in why he made the choice to leave at the time that he did, because he's highlighting that souls, do have a choice in how they exit and the timing of their deaths. So there's no regrets on his part as to how he lived this life, and what came out of it was a beautiful thing, and it happened exactly the way it was supposed to, for his highest growth and the highest growth of all. So that's really what we're talking about. So yeah, he's just saying, like, don't be hard on yourselves for, having a glass of wine, or enjoying a good drink, or experimenting around. But do pay attention to the callings of your heart, what your heart is telling you to do, because really you have to, take care of your body as well, and pay attention to your energy levels, and that all affects, the outcome of how good you feel about yourself. So it's really all about feeling your best in this life and being able to put on your best performance, like your best outfit, look your best, shine your brightest. And he's saying you can do that even when life hands you lemons. Like for his situation, he still shined his light even through, his body deteriorating, even through the difficulties he endured with his illness towards the end, his energy, losing his energy, like, basically watching himself kind of start to slowly wither away. He still gave it his all and shined as bright as he could within all of that, and that carried through. He said that energy carried through. It's not, people don't remember him as the sick AIDS patient. He was very conscious about when he chose to disclose that information, because intuitively he felt that was not the correct energy to put out around him. Like he didn't want that label. That was like the last thing he wanted. It was like, I didn't work this damn hard in my career to make this name for myself, to be Freddie Mercury, the Freddie Mercury that I am, to in the public eye, to be stamped with the label of dying AIDS patient. He really stretched that one out as long as he could, and I think it was like the day before his actual death that he came out with the official statement, because he wanted to, accept it. He was in a state of acceptance, and he wanted to publicly make that. He wanted that to be his choice, but he showed the world through his timing of that it was, also very, what's the word, consciously made for a purpose, for a higher reason, so that his light could live on. And so, thank you, Freddie, for sharing all of this stuff. It's amazing to have this connection with you. I'm still kind of in awe that we're talking like this, but I love it. So, a couple more questions to wrap it up. One of them is, do you have any advice for people about intuition or developing their mediumship abilities? Any advice coming from someone who is such a talent, who brought so much good energy through as a channel for music? He's like, yes, just understanding that we are all channeling, that you are all channeling energy, you are all channels for energy to flow through, and energy is constantly flowing through you. So use it, amplify it, direct it, be more conscious of how you choose to direct that energy or your abilities, how you choose to, he's saying, heighten your abilities or expand your abilities and awareness of energy. He's saying that's really something that he kind of understood on a soul level, the impact of energy, and again, going back to like making a name for himself and his choices and why he chose to do certain things a certain way. It was like an intuitive understanding that he knew, but he would have liked to have studied that more or been more consciously aware of how he was channeling energy and how just energy works, the flow of energy. It's just something that you feel, he says. You intuitively feel it when you're in the flow, when you're in the zone, when you're connecting. He's showing like to the hearts of others, so like heart-to-heart connection. He's showing like with his audience when he would be on stage, in those moments where he felt like fully in alignment as a full channel of energy. It was almost like he kind of had a like out-of-body experience with that almost. He's showing me like part of him was like looking and saying, wow, is this like, am I really doing this? Is this really me? But he had an understanding of like a higher power beyond him that was flowing through him. And even he's saying his inspiration for his music and the type of music he wrote, he was channeling guidance from his guides, from his team of the lyrics and the songs, and that's why melodies came to him so easily. He was just very open. He was very open to receiving, and he was very tuned to that higher awareness, so that the lyrics that did come through were all heart-based and intuitive. led, again, what he has said before. So on expanding your gifts, it's all about tuning into the messages of your heart. What is your heart saying? Amplify that. Amplify that. Make that louder. Make that be the loudest thing you hear, the most apparent thing you see. And yeah, just be open to it all. Just be open to it all. He's showing, like, be open to receiving messages in many different ways. So I feel like, he's talking about mediumship, and those of us that are on this path of becoming mediums, he says it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to share my message in this way, to reach people in this way, to touch people in this way. And it's a beautiful thing. And just keep doing that, just keep spreading that love, and helping people to tap into those abilities is a beautiful gift, a beautiful offering to share with the world. Just bringing awareness and light to the fact that we are all channeling, and how energy works, and all of that. He's really intrigued by that as a teaching or understanding. So that's awesome, Freddie. I know it's kind of time to wrap this up. So you pretty much answered all my questions. So any last words? And then, yeah, any last words? Just love it all. Be it all. Like, no, there's no limitations on what you can become, what you can express. And he's saying, love your body, like, be proud of your body. That was big for him. Body image, like, was big for him. Expressing, like, just love for, like, the male body, and even for female, the feminine energy. He just found women to be very beautiful, and men to be very beautiful. So he just saw beauty in the human form. So that's another aspect. Love your body. Really, really tune to like, stand proud, stand tall. Don't shrink down. Put on your best clothing. Put on your best outfit. Go out there with a smile on your face. Go out there with some, like, ramped up energy, like he was showing in the beginning. And just do it. Do what you love, and don't be afraid of what people think, and who sees you, because that's probably going to be your tribe. That's when you're going to find. That's how you're going to find your tribe, when you start connecting to people. You put yourself out there, and then once you do that, that's when the tribe comes. It's like, then you attract your audience, your followers, the people that are like you, that are inspired by you, and your willingness to step out of the shadows, like, into the limelight. Again, he's like, how will you know who you connect to if you never put yourself out there? How will you know? How will you draw that attention to yourself, or awareness of who your soulmates are, who your soul tribe is, if you're not willing to express yourself, express your truth? Like, it works both ways. Like, stop waiting for other people to, hold your hand. You got to do it for yourself. You've got to lead your own way, and be. It feels very like his message, kind of incorporating the sovereign unto self kind of aspect of our creating abilities and our abilities to manifest. He's like, yeah, sovereign unto self. Exactly what I'm trying to say is his response. So, beautiful energy. He's saying beautiful energy to me as well. It's been a blast, which I feel good about knowing, because my last question was, what did you think of this interview, and will you be back? And he's like, of course, darling. I will always be back. He's like, we're like this now. We're lifelong friends. Like, you'll be seeing me. On the other side. But it's your time to shine. It's your time to shine. And he's speaking to me, but he's like kind of extending that to all of you. It's your time now on Earth. It's your time on Earth. Focus on the time that you have and make the most of it, because you really don't know how long you have. That's kind of part of the trickiness of life. He's saying it's like, you got to give it your all. You've got to give it your all. The show must go on. You've got to give it your all, and do your best. Put your best foot forward. Put your best side forward. So yeah, he's saying yes, he will be back. As far as what he thinks of the interview, he was like, gorgeous, lovely, perfect, fine. He's much more comfortable now in that role of being interviewed. That was something that he didn't necessarily enjoy. He's saying because he kind of saw the superficiality in it, it just felt too forced energy. It wasn't like connecting with someone who was super heart-based. It was like a job. The most of the reporters he talked to, it was just like, he's showing, like, you'll notice in certain interviews, I connect a little bit more with the person that's interviewing me, because there's like more of a real connection. They're not just asking me like this multiple questions. It's not just like blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm going to talk about this now. It's more heartfelt. So he's just saying that, trust in that connection that you have with people. When you feel that connection, you vibe, you're vibing, and you feel more comfortable naturally. So he said he's felt more comfortable opening up to me because of my approach and my style, and just like the pure love that I have for him, like instant heart connection when he came through the very first time. And he's like, right back at you, and that's kind of how I feel his energy is. But yeah, it's dying down, so he's definitely ready to put a close on it. We've yeah, it's like, I feel like him saying, seal the deal with a kiss, like, kiss goodbye. It's been a pleasure, but now it's done. So thank you, Freddie. Thank you so much. Love your energy. Love your light. Thank you for all of the wonderful advice and all the stuff you shared with me, and encouragement and support. I'm not going to tell you again, but call on Freddie. He's around. He's definitely around, and you'll feel him come in strongly, because his personality is really unmatched by anybody else I've ever channeled before. So he comes in pretty unique to his style, which I love. So yeah, that's it for now. Please do like the video and subscribe, and feel free to share with anybody you can think of that might be a Queen fan or would appreciate this conversation. And yeah, so the other thing is, if you do like my video, please also subscribe if you haven't already, because I'm always coming up with new stuff, and I hope to continue producing a lot of videos like these, channeled messages from other beings of love and light. And I'm really drawn, I can tell Freddie hasn't left the room because I wanted to say this last thing, I'm really drawn to channel George Michael for some reason. So I'm kind of getting the approval sign from Freddie if George would be available for me sometime. And he's like, of course I can make that happen for you. He would love to meet you and be interviewed by you in this way. So maybe that'll be somebody to look forward to in the future. But anyways, yeah, have a great day. Have a great week. We'll see you soon. Bye.